How you
Hey
doing?
everybody, how's it going?
What's your name? Where you from?
Um, sorry, my name is Dominique and I'm from Pomona, but I live in Barstow, California. West, sorry. Where are you guys from?
I'm from Houston, Texas.
I live in
All right,
I
Texas,
live in Birmingham, Alabama. I've lived in a lot of different places.
Bama. Okay. I wanted to shed some light on what everybody's been saying. First, shout out to John Gabbana. He's awesome. I've followed him for a long time, even though I'm old, because I'm in my 30s.
Yeah, apparently that's an old man now.
Apparently that's old, so I must be like super old. I'm super granny now. But I wanted to say my testimony because I've been having a struggle with this whole Jesus, God, Christian, everybody, every religion, because I went through a traumatic experience. My husband, he killed himself last year, and we have six
Oh
kids.
man, sorry to hear that.
And yes, and through that all, it's been like an eye-opening. See, me, I'm more spiritual, I guess. I believe that there is a higher power. It's God, Yahweh, um, for Allah, Buddha. Like I think everybody has their own like thing that they go to. At the end of the day, it's all the same thing. I think it's all the same
Okay,
thing. Is it's cultures kind of
okay. Can I
shifted.
ask a question? Uh, well, go ahead and share your story. I just don't want to forget that. I don't
Okay.
want to forget that statement because I
Yeah,
have a
let's not forget
I have
that.
a
I just want to
question
put
Yeah,
that
for
out
you.
man.
there.
Yeah,
I just want to put that
yeah,
out
yeah.
there. Okay, so I lost him. We argued, and he left, and he did that to himself. So I've been grieving, and during this grief, I feel like my eyes been open to a lot of things that I never saw before, and I lost my kids, to the system, and it's just been through a lot. Yeah, it's been a lot. This year has been, but I'm kind of happy because it showed me a lot, taught me a lot. I got my babies back. I did turn around and be like, okay, let me pray. Let me talk to God. Let me find a new sense of, I don't know, like something to go to because I was at my wit's end. It's crazy because people turn to him when you ain't got nothing. Like what happened to him, your relationship then? You got to lose everything for you to have this relationship now, for you to see that he's there. Like people in jail when they're in prison, all of a sudden they come out, they now the name is Muhammad or whatever, or they found a new sense of way of living. Um, but I do have a different type of um, like thought when it comes to religion and stuff like that because I'm pretty much open to to different mindsets or perspectives on these. I guess religion, I guess as you call it, but I don't know about the whole Bible. No offense, like I'm not taking that from anybody at all
Yeah.
because I grew up as a Christian, but it never resonated with me. It never, when I went, it just it didn't feel for me. Not
Right.
saying that it's wrong for other people, just it didn't feel right to me, you know. But yeah, that's pretty much an eye-opening experience after I lost my husband, and everybody would tell me like, "Oh, well, he's going to hell. He went to hell.
Mm,
He killed himself. He going to hell." And I'm like,
mm.
"But if God, if He loves us, He knows his heart. Like He knows his heart. Like He knew that he was a good person. So it's like He just there was these demons. It's a fight between good and evil. That's a fight.
Well, what is
That's
a
why
good
there is
per
good. That's right,
what
So
is a
huh?"
good person?
Okay, so all right, I'll start right here.
well
I
before
have
well
six
before
kids.
before we go there, let me say this to preface that. Um, one thing you have to, I would recommend everybody do is when someone hears things like that, because like a lot of times people hear, hey, these Christians told me this, right? These people who are supposed to be representing Jesus said this, which is a bad thing. Like they don't know who's in heaven and who's not. The only person they know is in heaven is God, is Jesus. You know what I mean? And
Mhm.
maybe someone can argue, split hairs about some other things, whatever. But long story short, um, one thing that a lot of people do that I don't think is wise is they let someone who's supposed to be imitating Christ represent him. So, for example, have you seen on YouTube like those Michael Jackson imitators, like on Instagram and stuff? right?
Yeah.
Let's say you go to like
Yeah.
one of those Michael Jackson imitators, and he's trying to do the moonwalk and he trips or something like that, and then
Yeah. Mhm.
and then you get an invitation to go see Michael Jackson actually perform in person. Are you gonna say,
Mhm.
oh, this guy represented Michael Jackson well, I didn't represent him well, I'm not gonna go? Or are you gonna say, this makes Michael Jackson look even better because no one can live up to the greatness that he was musically? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I think I just want to preface this with Jesus's followers don't represent Jesus. Jesus represents Jesus. So even in I'll just wrap it up with this, and I'll let C Love ask his question. In one of the Gospels, there's a blind man that's crying out. He's saying, "Son of David, have pity on me." He's blind, and there's a crowd following Jesus. Jesus's followers following him, and Jesus walks right past them, and he keeps yelling out. And then the people say, "Shut up! Be quiet! Be quiet!" And then he keeps crying out even more. And then Jesus looks and hears them and says, "Bring him to me." And they say, "Get up! He's calling you to him." He goes to him, and he says, "What do you want?" He says, "I want to be able to see." And then he heals him, and he's able to see. And what does the guy do? After that moment, he decides to follow Jesus. Even though the followers of Jesus mistreated him and didn't treat him right, he decided to follow him because he's not caught up in who those followers are. He's not worried about, I don't want to be like them. He's like, I'm following this guy. I'm not following the followers. I don't know why they're following. I don't know what their motivation is, but I'm following the person that actually healed me because I see the character that he had. Does that make sense? So
Yeah.
don't
Yeah,
let.
it does.
So I would just say, on behalf of Christ, people that say stuff like that, they have no authority. We have no authority over who goes to heaven or hell. God has that
Right.
authority. So, but
Yeah.
I'll let C Love ask his question. I just wanted to go ahead and just clarify that
Okay.
to a degree. But go ahead, C Love.
No, I was just asking, what is good? Where do we get, if you don't believe in
okay.
God, where do you get your standard of good from?
No, I don't. It's not that I don't. Okay. It's like it sounds bad when I say I don't believe in God because it's like I know I do. I just think that, like what old boy said, like, is the universe. I feel like everybody's thoughts on this higher power is all the same. We just have different names for it. It's just we have different ways of how we go to it. Like, you guys are Christians, so are people who go to mosque every day, are they different? Are they wrong for
Well,
who they believe in Allah? Is that not the right thing?
Let me ask
Yes,
you a question.
they
Also,
are wrong.
your camera is a little to the side. You
Oh, sorry.
moved
Yeah.
over just a
Sorry.
little bit so we can see.
There you
Yeah,
go.
there we go. Cool. You have a nice smile, so we don't want to. I'm married, by the way. It
Thank
wasn't me
you.
flirting. I'm married. I just had a baby. I don't want her.
Oh, it's okay.
If she's
You
watching,
gotta
I
watch
don't
that
want her to
guy.
think I was
You gotta
flirting.
Hey,
watch that
I was
guy.
just trying to be
Hey,
nice.
hi, wifey.
Okay, cool. So,
No, it's all good.
anyway, I would say this. Let's say, I know that I don't know where he is on your screen, but right here is my man C Love. We're really good friends. If someone were to come up to me and say, "You know C Love?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "I know C Love too." I'm like, "Okay, cool." And he's like, "Yeah, he's got blonde hair. He's got like blue eyes, and he's about 5'3". And I'm like, no.
Nah.
And then he says, no, we're talking about the same guy, C Love. And I
Right.
don't even call him
Right.
C Love. I call him Jordan.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, okay, he's a different person. He's like, no, he's the same. If he's describing someone that's totally different, that says different things, that acts in a different way, and the only similarity is the fact that it's a person, I would say it's a different person. When you really study the major world religions, not denominations, but major world religions, you'll find that instead of them being superficially different and at the core level they're the same, in reality they're superficially the same and at the core level fundamentally totally different.
Right.
Yeah,
For example,
definitely. They are.
For example, Islam would say that someone who believes in Hinduism, believes in multiple gods, is not going to heaven. They would say that you do not believe in the same God. Someone who is a Christian would say Jesus is the Son of God. Jesus is God the Father personified. Someone who is Buddhist would say, well, yeah, but also this guy is, and also this guy is, and so does that guy. And this person would say, no, only that person. And in the Christian perspective, the belief is Jesus said, I am the way to the Father. There's no one else other than me. In Islam, the words written on the big, I don't know what it's called, but in Mecca, where they go to take a pilgrimage, it has written on there, God has no son.
Mm.
It's fundamentally different. It's not the same. And the idea that we all believe in a creator, that's the same, but the characteristics of that creator, or the things that creator does, or how that creator expresses himself is completely different. Now, we all have fundamental universal beliefs that murdering people is bad. That's pretty much universal in every religion, right? If you're looking at, you know, how to live, how someone ought to live, versus, I guess the question that religion, if the question that religion is answering to you is, how should I live my life? It's going to be a completely different answer, or completely different answer depending on what religion you go to, when the real question is, why are we here? Why is there evil in the world? And who created all this? That's what religion really answers. And I think today in our modern society, we kind of view it as like, kind of like my style, like my way I kind of go through life. And I think because of that, there's a lot of confusion that people in the Western world only think, yeah, all religions are kind of the same. And that's why I would respectfully disagree. I don't hope I didn't offend you or anything.
Oh, no, not at all. I'm pretty open to.
I would challenge you to think on that.
I mean, this has been it's been a constant battle for myself, because I feel like when people are manifesting, it's basically they're praying. You know, it's like that's how I feel. Like, and because that's what I pray, but then I'm like, okay, but I'm asking or thanking for waking me up every day. Like, it's like I'm confused. It's confusing, because then when you hear people say, like, even when you go to church, and then, you know, you got all these people in church, like, oh, but you gossiping and doing all this that's you're not supposed to be doing, you judging people for their decisions. It's like, I can't. I try to understand it. I try.
Right.
You know, at the end of the day, I just live my life like right and wrong. It was right or right or wrong. You know, I thank God, Yahweh. I think that there's too many names of this God that we have, so I call him Yahweh. But you know, that's different, right? It's not right, is it? But it's in the Bible. It's like, why do we have so many like versions? And you got the old and the new and the.
What do you mean?
It seems like things are changing.
What are you talking about?
Like, okay, so in the Bible, first in the Bible was like, I thought Sabbath day was Saturday, and then it's Sunday.
No.
What's the day?
Sabbath day never changed from Saturday.
Okay, but why did everybody go to church on Sunday?
Because it's the Lord's day. That's the day he resurrected from the dead.
Okay. So I thought, but then why do people go to church on Sunday if it's supposed to be Saturday? I thought that's how it goes. No. Just enlighten me, educate me, help me out, because I really want to understand.
I'm glad you're.
I really want to understand.
Conversations, okay.
Yes.
The Sabbath was something given to people as a day of rest. The Bible says that Sabbath was given to man, was made for man, not man made for the Sabbath. The Lord's Day, what they called Sunday, or the Lord's Day, was the day that Jesus resurrected, and was the day that believers in the early church decided to get together and meet. And they just decided to meet on the Lord's Day.
Okay. Okay. Hallelujah.
And so
Okay. I
that's
hear
why
you.
we go to church on Sunday.
Okay. Okay. And why are we giving money to the church? What's that about?
Um, because
I mean, it's like,
funding.
I get it, tithing. You got to give back, but it's like we funding these churches, these mega churches and stuff. Like that's what I don't agree with. Like I don't got it like that, and God knows that I don't got it like that. So it's
Well,
like,
don't give to
it's
them.
like
Don't fund to them then.
Right. Don't give.
no, don't not run. To, you said don't run
No,
to
I said
him.
don't fund them then.
Oh, okay. I'll fund them. Okay. 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 That made me feel
You don't
guilty.
have
It made me
to.
feel guilty.
You don't have
Go
to.
the pot.
Where's the
It
Bible
just
say?
make it seem like you have to.
Okay,
It
but
make it seem like
but that's the kind of stuff that kind of confuses me sometimes. Is like
mhm.
people will people will hear an Earth, Wind, and Fire imitation band and say that one guy just never hits the notes, and I'm like, you mean the actual guy that sings Philip Bailey from Earth, Wind, and Fire? He's like, yeah, I guess. It's like, well, have you listened to Earth, Wind, and Fire? Have you listened to Philip Bailey? Well, no, but I heard the imitation band. It's like the same thing. It's like, no, it's not.
Gotcha.
You can
Yeah.
hear reasons,
Okay.
and you hear the reason. You're not gonna hear everybody. No one's gonna imitate that right. So, 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 in the same thing, like when people say things like some of those questions you just asked, where is it in this book, or is it just something that's been handed down from tradition and tradition, and then it's just believed as, oh, this is what the Bible says. It's like, well, have we read it to know what it says? Are we going
Yeah.
based,
I mean, okay.
based on
So
off other people that have never read it and their
no,
and what
I
they
mean,
think?
you think because I don't read the Bible, you think like I'm just as like I'm just listening to other people. It's just I got family, and they throw these things in my face. Like for example, spare the rod, spoil the child. Right?
Yeah.
Like, does that mean spank your child? Because if you do, CPS gonna come to your door. It's like what's
They're not going to come to my door.
They never
But
never came to my mama's
I
door.
have this. That's my experience that I've had. And I'm like, well, now I got to tell the courts, like, look, this is what it's like says, and it's like they don't want to hear that.
so the
You
book.
know,
So I think to
I'm not
to answer
eating them.
your original question, I think your original
Hmm.
question was, what did you say about, like, am I saying that because you haven't read the Bible that you don't really know, you're listening to people
Right.
that don't? Well, I would kind of answer your question like this. What's a big movie that did you ever watch all the Star Wars movies?
Nah.
Okay.
Okay. Avengers.
No, no,
Use
no,
that one.
no. Star Wars is
Okay.
perfect then.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
So you know that, like, you have the understanding that Darth Vader is Luke's father, right?
Oh. Yes. Yes. I know that. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Everything you know about the movie is what someone else told you.
Well, I saw pieces of it,
Well,
and I remember that part. You know what I'm saying?
and you've read pieces of this too.
I've read pieces of the Bible. Yes.
So
Yes. Like
so
I have.
I would say if you don't if you haven't read the Bible, then what are you going off of? How are you basing what's in it off of? Like, what are you basing it on?
Well, I go off of like what my family says, like my mom and my dad and family,
Have you ever
when I
played
do go to church
telephone?
and then, huh? Right. Yes.
Why not
Yes,
go to
I
the
have.
original source?
I should. I should maybe educate myself more because I'm so like kind of like maybe angry. Like,
Mm.
okay, well, if there is, why I gotta go through this? If there's, why he take this person? If he is, why?
Right.
And then I realized maybe to help other people, maybe to be it's definitely questioning, um, putting things into perspective, and maybe God is trying to say, hey, look at me, I'm right here. I'm right here.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what it is. I just still have a lot of reservations about it because how other people be like, I'm this, and that. I love Jesus, but you down on me about my decisions, or you judging me for what I did, or you don't like, for example, gay people. It's like I'm big on that because I thought that we are all created equally. He loves us all. But now this blasphemy, or not blasphemy, Sodom and Gomorrah. I read about that. You know, it's like, dang, like, because
What did you read
people,
about that?
I read that, you know, people was being nasty up in them times and, you know, engaging with the same sex and stuff like that. And then he did something to their place and
I thought you
burned
said
it or whatever.
you just said you read about it. Now you're saying he did
I did
something to
like back.
some
Okay, listen,
people for some place.
this is back when I was like growing up. Okay, I'm 35 years. I'll be
When
35 on
when you
Friday.
say growing up, how old were you?
Okay, like 7, 8, and you read
Okay.
these stories. You go to Bible
Okay. So
study,
let
and
me ask you a question. You realize that some of the deepest philosophers and thinkers go through and contemplate things in this book. And you're telling me, not you, but you in this case, but a lot of people are telling me that, yeah, I remember reading something about it when I was like 6 or 7. And so I kind of get what it's about. You're telling me as a 7 or 8-year-old, you had the understanding to come to a conclusion that, yeah, I get it. I get the gist. This isn't it. Based on something, based on something you couldn't
no, I'm
comprehend
saying
at
like
that age.
I remember growing up, like reading these stories and hearing about these stories, and then like say like, oh, that's what they were talking about. That's what they meant by that. Like I remember my childhood so well. Like I remember going to church every Sunday. Um, all the time, everybody jumping up, feeling the Holy Ghost and stuff. And I was like, what is going on with these people? Like, I didn't understand it until I got older. And I'm like, this doesn't resonate with me.
But
It's not,
do you think you understand it if you're having these questions?
I don't understand it. That's why I'm
Right.
questioning. That's why I'm asking
Yeah.
because
I'm
I
cool.
don't,
I'm cool with I'm cool with it. Like,
I
I
don't get
think
it.
I think the issue is a lot of people, like I said, they get this understanding when they're a kid, and then they kind of
Hmm.
walk away from it, and you can only comprehend so much as a child.
Hmm.
You're asking an 8-year-old to comprehend things that philosophers and very intelligent people are still debating to this day, and you're expecting you're expecting your 7-year-old self to. I remember when I was 7 or 8, so I know I got the understanding. I kind of, and then I get it from there. And I think people don't do a deep dive like they probably should. So I think I'll say this: if I were you, I would take time to read the
Okay.
Bible
I've been wanting to.
by yourself, not just let's see a little passage here, a little passage. Like, read the whole thing, because
Okay. Okay.
what you don't want to happen is this: you don't want to you don't want to do a Star Wars. I watched a little part here, I
Right.
watched a little part there, and
Right. Yeah.
pray. Pray
I,
to the God that is talked about in this, and see if he will reveal himself to you. It says that no one that comes to him he will turn away. And so with that, I would just ask you to I would recommend you to do that. And then I would ask you this too. Um, for somebody that for someone that you said you grew up in the church and you had a little bit of an understanding
I,
of the church,
I did.
what
It just
what
didn't.
is the gospel in your understanding?
The gospel is the word, ain't it?
So gospel is a Greek word. Gospel means gospel means
Good
good news. What
news.
is the good
Okay.
news?
Okay. The good news is I woke up every day. I woke up today. Good news is, um, but I thought gospel was like the music, like when people are like gospel music, like that's what I thought it was.
Yeah,
Like,
that's where I say I know you don't have a, and I'm not saying this to insult you. I'm saying this to, like,
oh no,
because
I know,
I'm
I
just saying that
know.
for people watching. Like, I'm not saying this to
Hmm.
insult you. I'm saying this because it's true. Like, if you've read this book, you know what the gospel is. The good news.
Well, so what is it? Good news, right? But a lot of that stuff.
This is the good news. So
Do you think some of that stuff is good news though? I feel like some of it's really kind of like depressing
it
sometimes,
is. You're
and
right.
it's
You
not.
can't.
It's
You're right. You can't have good news without bad news.
you can't have a trial
So
without testimony,
I'll
without a
say
test without
this.
your testimony.
I'll say this. this is the gospel. I'm going to try to explain it as quick as I can, but I'm going to have to go all the way back to the beginning.
I can't.
Okay.
Okay, what is it?
So there is someone who created this entire universe. You can look at the universe. You can look at the universe and you can see that there is an intelligent designer. I just had a baby a week ago today. Well, my wife and I had a baby a week ago today.
Aww.
And I'm looking at this child and all the development that's going on. Someone had to design that. Couldn't happen by accident. And if you take I don't know if you were in the room earlier when I talked about this, but if you take everything in the universe and you take just the life that we have, if you take the chances of there being life anywhere in the universe, and I'm not even saying complex life like us, but just life in general, atheist physicists, like the most staunch atheists, agree that the chance for life was so finite that you would have a better chance in things just magically happening and then any life appearing at all. You would have a better chance of throwing your clothes in the dryer and then pressing dry, and then it stops and all your clothes just happen to land perfectly folded on top of each other in accordance to their color and size.
Right. Okay.
So there is a creator. There's
Definitely.
a creator of all of this.
Yeah.
Because there is
Yes.
intelligent design that points to him in everything.
There has to be. There's no question about that. I'm not
correct.
doubting that at all.
So we're there.
Mm-hmm.
After that, there is within every civilization, within every society, within every human soul, there is a compass for a moral law, morality.
Yes.
That we know this isn't good, this is bad. There was a postmodern writer, atheist postmodern writer that fled from Paris during World War II to America during the rise of Nazi Germany. And he spent his entire life writing and coming up with papers of how there is no absolute truth. There's no right or wrong. There's no this or that. And as he's sitting one day, he sees on TV Nazi people hitting Jewish children, women with batons, and seeing a crowd of Nazis cheering, "Go get them, go get them, go get them." And he said he spent his entire life trying to prove there were no absolutes, but everything within him was telling him that was absolute evil.
That's wrong. Yeah, that's evil.
We all have within us a moral code, a moral law. So within all of us, there is a law. If there's a law, there must be a lawgiver. In the same way that if there's design, there has to be a designer. If there is a law, there is a lawgiver. There is someone who created this universe, created everything, and created moral code. So, if there's a creator, the creator can do 4 things. The creator can create nothing. The creator can create something with no moral code or anything like that. Just like this chair. This chair isn't good. It's not bad. It's just a chair.
Like the chair. It's just the chair.
Or the creator can create a world or universe where there is a moral code. But everything must follow the moral code and nothing wrong will ever happen. Or the 4th, the creator can create a universe where there is something and there is a moral code, but the things within that universe get to choose whether or not they want to follow that moral code or not. There's only one of those realities that creator can experience love with its creation. Within the first, there's nothing to love. Within the second one, there's Nothing but love
The
is better.
chair.
Within the third one, you have a robot. If I have to do everything you say and I have no choice, how do you know I'm doing it because I love you? Within the fourth,
Yeah.
that's the only option where someone has the ability to love you or not. So,
Mm-hmm.
with that being said, there was created a world, a universe, and people, the creations, were given a choice to choose the creator or not the creator. The creator's laws are not the creator's laws. What people have chosen through history from the beginning of this book to the end, and what Adam and Eve, when you read about Adam and Eve, that's what that is about. Choosing not the creator. And not
But doesn't
choosing.
he know that what you're gonna do before you do it? Like, isn't your life already planned out and it's already? So do you really have a choice? I
So
mean,
so
it's like,
so I'll get there. So some people would say, I would say this. Explain to me what outside of time looks like.
I don't really believe in time, to be honest. It's like it's just a
Well, but
to me.
okay, well, you're not. How old are you?
I'm 35, and I know that there's times like you look at the time, but I'm saying like I feel like
But
it's such a like
but what I'm saying is
who put these?
there was a time you were born, and then there was a time you were in your
Yes,
mother's womb, and there's a
yes,
time when you're out of it,
yes,
right?
yes,
So
yes,
what is
yes,
it
yes.
like for a being to be outside of time? We can't comprehend that with our brain.
You can't comprehend it.
So
Yeah.
when we try to do that, what we do is we put limitations on a being outside of that and say, oh, well,
Mm-hmm.
if that, then this. But that's our comprehension. That's not what's actually going on. So when people say that, people say, oh, well, God knows, and God, I don't know how that works, him being outside of time. If I pretended to know, I would be lying. I don't think anyone knows.
Yeah.
But that being said, people had a choice. People chose against, and with that choice, there are consequences. If
Yeah.
For example, if you design a car, right,
Uh-huh.
and you have an instruction manual
Mm-hmm.
for that car, and people
Mm-hmm.
decide to not follow the instruction manual for the car, it's going to break. It's not going to work right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
when we look
Yeah.
at the world, there's all sorts of trouble. There's all sorts of things that are not right, that everyone knows, that even the atheist knows, who believes in no higher power, understands something is wrong with this world. There is evil, and we don't know why. We don't know what these causes come from.
It has to be this way. There has to be good and evil. It has to
So,
be, the world has to be this way. It is what it is. Because I think that he
so
designed it for us to
well,
make a choice.
well. Here's the thing.
And
Here's the thing. Let me keep going. I'm almost done. I'm almost done. Here's
okay,
the thing.
okay, all right, all right.
So you have a moral lawgiver, perfect, intelligent creator who created this world and has laws set before him. If he's perfect, if anything breaks that law and he allows that imperfection, he's not perfect. So if God were to, for example, judge you based on just the 10 Commandments, have you ever lied?
Yes.
Have you ever
I
stolen
mean,
anything?
No,
Have you ever
but
have you ever been disrespectful to your mother and father?
yes.
Have you ever used
Yes.
the Lord's name in vain? He takes
Yes.
that very
Yeah.
seriously. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
so 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 so
But do you think that
hold on, hold on.
that's the same as me killing somebody?
We're getting there. We're getting there. We're getting there.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Okay.
Stay with
Okay.
me. I promise you. I
All
promise.
right. I
Once I
just
finish this, you'll say, I understand what the gospel is, why it's called the
okay. Okay.
gospel. Okay.
All right.
So
Okay. Okay. I got you.
so this is where we go from here. If I were to go, let's say if I were to kill an ant, what would happen to me?
You kill an ant.
Okay.
Just-
What if I were to kill someone's like dog?
you go to jail. need
Would
to.
I go to jail for
I
a
think
lot?
that
Would I go to, okay, maybe go to jail for
I
a
don't
little
think
bit.
you should. I think you
Okay.
should.
Maybe pay a fine, maybe go to jail. In
You don't
most
go. You don't
states.
go to jail for that.
I
Oh,
don't
okay.
know.
All
I
right.
don't know.
Okay.
Okay,
All
let's
right.
say I'd go to jail.
Okay.
How long should I be in jail for?
Maybe like 6 months.
6 months.
6
Okay. Go
months.
to jail for six
Yeah.
months. Kill a homeless guy downtown. What will happen?
You need to go to jail. You go to
For how
prison
long?
for life.
Okay,
Or,
for life. Okay.
yes.
What would happen if I were to try to attack like a world leader or something, like the president or of some country? What would happen to me then?
I think you probably do some time.
Do
It's
some
attempted
time?
now.
Do some time.
Attempted, ain't it?
If I was in Russia and I went after their leader, what would happen to me? Physically.
Who, Platinum? If you went to Platinum or Putin or whatever
Right.
his name is,
I would
I
probably
think you.
die. So
Yeah, they cut your head off.
the same action. So here's the thing. The action didn't change. It was who I did the action
Right.
to that changed.
Okay. That makes a difference, though.
That makes a
difference.
huge difference. So when we have the law being broken isn't the thing. It's who the law was broken against. That's the thing. If the law that's broken against is an ultimate, infinite, perfect creator, the punishment for that is infinitely just as punishable, no matter what the action is. So if we were to judge you, for example, you said, if God were to say, okay, I'm going to judge you based on these 10 commandments. Let's just say just 10 commandments, just those things we just talked about. Would you be, in a perfect judge's mind, would you be innocent or guilty?
I'd probably be guilty.
Okay.
Because, I mean, is it more than one of the other, or
Well,
is it just
whatever?
whatever?
No, it's one or the other. Like, okay, if someone goes into a courtroom and they're like, yeah, I killed the guy, but I'm sorry. Is the judge going to say, okay, you're free? Like, if he's a just
Well,
judge.
what if it's in self-defense?
If he's a just judge, it's not self-defense. Let's say he knows he was wrong. If it's a just
Okay.
if he's a
All
just judge, what is he going to do?
You don't punish him.
Right.
You're going to go to jail.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. So in the same way, if he's a fair judge, he can't just let someone get off. Now,
But
here's the thing.
these days, people do.
I'm talking about a just
Okay,
judge.
this
I'm
person.
talking about a perfect judge.
Just
I'm talking about
like Judge Judy.
infinite,
Okay.
all-knowing,
Okay.
perfect judge that knows every thought, that knows the intention, knows all these things that you can't convince otherwise.
Mm.
And so we've got that. He says, heaven, you're innocent. Hell, you're guilty. Which one would you go to?
Guilty.
Okay. Now,
But I don't
wait, I'm not done yet. Here we go.
Okay.
Now, here is why it's called the good news. Because that perfect just judge, as just and as righteous as he is, he's also loving. So how can he take something that's wrong and say this punishment needs to be given and not do that by someone? What he did in your place was he came, lived the perfect life, lived a life that you, I, no one else in the history of the world has ever lived, kept every law, kept every commandment, and said, I will take your punishment that you deserve, and you can take my reward if you accept that you're not perfect and you accept it. And by doing that, it's like if you were speeding, you got a speeding ticket, and then someone comes up to you and said, the judge is like, hey, the fine's $1,000, and you've got $10, and then someone says, here, take my $1,000. I never sped, but you can take my $1,000 if you want it. You have the choice to say, really? Wow, thank you. And you're free. You're good. You're not affected by that anymore. Or you can say, I don't need your $1,000. My $10 is good enough. Judge, here's $10. And that's why the only thing that God says he hates, one of the only things that he hates the most, is a prideful heart. A prideful heart is a heart that says,
Right.
I'm perfect. I don't need your mercy or your grace, because I already live up to your standard. Put my good works up to your standard. I bet I'll live up to it. And then you wake up on the other side of eternity and you see, wow, that is perfect. I definitely don't live up to that. And when you realize that, that is what the gospel is. The gospel is, the good news is that there is a just judge that all of us are guilty under. But the good news is that he gave a free way for us to not have to turn to that. He gave us a free way that we can be in relationship with him. He gave us a free way that we can still come to him. That's the good news. That everybody
Unconditionally.
is guilty. Everyone is guilty. But if we accept the free gift, then we're saved. That's why it's called you're saved. You're saved from what? You're saved from his punishment that everybody deserves. And so that's why in the Bible, in Romans, it says, for the wages, what is a wage? I hope I'm not losing here.
A wage is like a an amount, maybe not an amount, but like well, how much I get paid. My wage is $20.
What you've earned.
What you've earned, yes.
For the wages of sin is just anything that is less than perfect. That's what sin is. Sin is any imperfection. For the wages of sin is death. We know what death is. Here's the flip side. But the gift, what is a gift? A gift is something that's you're on mute. Okay.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Oh, what's that?
My baby's probably crying downstairs too. Oh, okay. Well, hopefully she got that. So anyway, I got like 4 minutes. If anyone wants to hop back on, go ahead, and we'll go ahead and see love, man. I didn't even see you there. I wonder how long you've been waiting. So, wages of sin is death, but the gift of God is eternal life through Christ Jesus.